interesting podcast. It really,
We left Kyle speechless.
yeah. Well, we're not a politics podcast. I can't say what I want, and we'll leave it at that. But welcome back to episode 58 of the Loggerhead Golf Podcast. Wanted to start off this podcast. As many of you guys know, that we had an ambassador named Blake Taylor, who is also a UNCW assistant men's golf coach, was unfortunately diagnosed with cancer. So there has been a GoFundMe established for him that you can search, and maybe we can even put it in the link in the description. So our thoughts and prayers are going out with him because he is a awesome human being, and it's an unfortunate situation. So Blake, we're thinking about you, buddy, and we're going to get through this. So
I did not know that.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously not a great situation, but
No.
you know, once he's part of our family, we're going to try to take care of him as best we can. So, but tuning into the golf side of things, we had an exciting weekend. LIV continues to get made fun of, but yet again, 2 majors in a row for Richard Bland.
LIV has quite a few majors now.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 senior majors in a row, and then the U.S. Open. So 3 majors in 3 weeks or 3 majors within 6 weeks. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that playoff hole? Richard Bland from the bunker basically jars it, and comes out and
I'll say,
top.
how hard did that hole look?
Yeah.
475 yards, dead into the wind. There's a bunker that you have to cover at 250. And again, we're talking about seniors here. Now, Richard Bland still is in the 170s ball speed.
Yeah, he can still move it.
I mean, I woke up in the morning because I saw that they got delayed on Sunday, and I watched the final 3 holes of the final round, and then they went 4 playoff holes, I think 4 or 5. They essentially did a 2-hole aggregate score. They both tied, and then they did sudden death from there. And I wouldn't want any part of that golf hole.
When did the USGA start the 2-hole aggregate?
I think they only because that would not have been the case for the U.S. Open. I don't think. I think it's different for each tour or for each level.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I still think the USGA should go back to 18-hole playoff.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it was cool to see because that's the oldest. It's not the oldest club, but I think it's the oldest venue.
Well, I mean,
Hosted
it was
a major
a beautiful
championship.
golf course. I mean, it'd be fun to play, but under those conditions, I don't know that I would enjoy it necessarily.
Well, they made a joke during his like actual ceremony. They were like, you know, Tiger Woods won a USAM there, Annika's won there. Now they added his name. He goes, I don't think I'm doing that group service, but
So you're saying he's humble and in victory.
100%, 100%. Another win for a lab putter.
Yep.
Which I would just say, I'm a little bit on a high horse right now. I recently got a lab, and I haven't had a round with more than 30 putts. So
That's good for you.
It's good for anybody, but especially good for me. Especially good for me. So, a little biased here, but when I see a lab putter on TV, I'm like, this guy's a good putter.
Well, the difference is you paid for yours.
Thank you, Kyle.
So I mean, that's a you know, unbiased opinion since you financially bought it yourself.
Now, I'll tell you what, though, if Akshay had a lab putter.
Yikes.
Yeah.
What happened to Akshay?
So if you watch the Rocket Mortgage, you obviously saw some good golf coming down the stretch between a lot of players.
So good golf for 3 rounds.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say good golf for
The 4th round.
Yeah. It you know,
That's mean, Nikki.
Cam Davis coming down the stretch, hits a stellar shot, rolls back, rolls off the green, goes in the water. You think he's out of the tournament, proceeds to go on a little bit of a birdie run. And you've got Akshay playing 2 weeks in a row, just phenomenal golf.
He's been playing well.
Hadn't had a 3-putt all week, and then gets on 18 and somehow leaves a birdie putt about 9.5 feet short and gives himself a sliding putt, and then folded like a lawn chair under
He
pressure.
looked like he just got the line wrong
Well,
because he looked like he rolled it pretty straight from what I saw from the
He-
camera behind.
so
Didn't look like he
to be
pulled it
fair,
line.
it was a 30. His first putt was from 33 feet. Now that 18th hole was playing pretty hard. It was playing the toughest hole of the day. I think they said there was only like 8 birdies on it. So he's tied for the lead coming into 18. Has a putt for the win, 2 putt for the tie to go to a playoff. 33 feet. Now, I watched the last 9 holes, I would say, of coverage. Akshay didn't have a putt that sniffed the hole. Besides his par putt on the hole where he hit his drive 97 yards.
I watched him 2 tournaments ago. He just doesn't. He's a strong player. He doesn't look like a strong putter, and that brings to the question: what do the broomsticks do? Are they solid?
Statistically, he's always been a good putter.
The last couple tournaments, though, he looks like he's been struggling with speed.
And that's where you say like pressure, nerves come in. But
I mean, he said that himself. Like, I mean, the coolest thing about him is how he handled that interview. And he's like, yeah, the nerves got to me.
Yeah.
How many players would actually admit that? Not a lot.
I know one that wouldn't.
That's kind of the comparison right now.
Does his name start with an I and ends with the Ori? R.
I knew where you were going with
We're
it.
just letting you run. But I'm sitting there and I'm watching the last few holes.
That was your Irish accent coming out.
Kyle sent the text. I was like, who's going to play to win this tournament? I thought it was going to be Minwoo Lee, you know?
Yeah.
He birdied the par 5s. He birdied the par 5s. And that he's in the middle of the fairway on 18. He's a couple groups ahead of the final group. And I was like, all right, Minwoo Lee can stick this close, get it in the clubhouse, sails the green. And then like just turning around and throws his hands up at the caddy. I'm like, buddy, there's like 40 damn flags on the grandstands. Like what? How do you not know?
Well, the wind might have been different up there than what it was.
and essentially from where he had zero shot of getting it up and down.
Yeah.
Which I'm sitting there and like, then you kind of see the trickle down effect where Cam Davis hit it in the water on the par 5. You know, I think he still got up and down for par.
So he made bogey there.
Or he made bogey,
So
correct.
he hit it to
He
like
dropped out.
7 feet, and then it caught the ridge and then just trickled all the way in the water.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, which one of these guys is going to play to win the tournament? And I'm like, oh, cool. Akshay played a really aggressive 3-wood that lands just in the neck, to where if he goes a yard left, it's in the water. And I'm sitting there like, cool, he'll get this up and down. He chips it up there to like 10 feet. Putt had zero shot of going in. I'm like, it's like whoever gets in the clubhouse first, essentially at this point, is going to win the tournament.
Right.
And it kind of just felt that way from the get-go. Now, you hate to see a guy lose on a 3-putt, but
I have a question for you.
What?
Did Akshay lose or did Cam Davis win the tournament?
Who'd they hand the trophy to?
According to Hank Haney, no one won the tournament.
Yeah.
But it's one of those events to where, again, first guy in the clubhouse won.
I don't think
Cam Davis is a previous winner there.
Yeah.
Last time he won on tour, he won there. So
I don't think the whole.
I don't
You
think
lose
Akshay
a
lost.
tournament?
He
Yeah,
made
I don't-
2 bogeys all week.
Right. I don't think you could quote unquote lose a tournament.
No. Well,
Well, if you 3-putt,
I was gonna say,
Vanderbilt.
yeah.
if you miss
I
the
was going
putt,
to
you
say
lose.
Carnoustie, Vanderbilt. I mean, that's losing a tournament.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is in the same Rory context.
No.
Because, but that being said,
You guys said.
yeah. But I'm not going to say Akshay lost the tournament by any means. You make 2 bogeys all week. Didn't have a single 3-putt. Now,
Until the last hole.
tour average from 32 feet. How many putts to get in the hole? What do you think? It's exactly 2.
Yeah.
It's like 8% or something like that.
You essentially have, I think like an 8%, 12% chance of 3-putting.
Shout out to Steve for Foundations of Golf. That's where I learned that one from.
From what?
The book. The 4 Foundations of Golf.
Did my dad give you a book?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You know how to read?
Sometimes.
Oh, wow. We're moving up. We're learning to count this morning and reading.
No, but I think now the first thing that stood out to me about the PGA Tour this week, there was a lot of guys that played this week that are in the top 50 in the FedEx Cup that were not in the elevated event last week, and they played really well. And it bodes a question because I think the Travelers and Detroit Golf Club line up really good to one another because they're pitch and putts. Do we think more of these players would have had a chance to win last week if they were actually in the field?
I mean, yeah, they would have had more of a chance to win if they were actually in the field.
Well, yeah. but I meant like.
But yes, I get what you're saying. Like if the field for
The
the last
competition.
week's tournament was larger, then yes, you would
Because
think.
the whole premise that the PGA Tour has come behind is that, well, you need to play well enough to get into those events.
Right.
Well, when they play in the events that they actually do get in, and they do play well on very similar golf courses, the Travelers is not a hard golf course
Right.
at all. I mean, there's a 59 there last week. And how did that guy that shot 59 play on Sunday?
This past Sunday or last Sunday, because it was about the same.
No, I say this one.
Yeah, terrible. Again, putting, and then on 14, he had enough of that new driver. He said it's he tested out the durability of the shaft.
And it didn't pass.
It didn't pass his
Kyle,
durability
you have
test.
never broken a golf club, I'm sure of.
Not this year.
Now, what do you guys think about 59's coming up? But like, how do you think you can make a golf course harder? Is it layout? Is it rough? Is it
Well, they
making
had
it
ball
long?
in hand
Is
when
it
that
making it
happened.
longer
Well,
instead of making these pitch putts like you
Length.
said?
The length of the
I
golf
say
course
the
doesn't really
length of the
matter.
golf course
Won't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
these guys
Marion
can.
proved
These guys.
that.
I mean, Colin Morikawa proves that he hits his 6-iron closer than we hit our wedges. That's just
Well, he's
stats.
I think he's one of the best iron players for sure.
Going out on a limb saying that, Tyler. Wow. I'm just- Yes.
I'll state it.
No, you're exactly right. I just think they're popping up more and more often because I hate to say it, equipment.
Oh, the condition of the golf course.
Condition of the golf courses.
The golf courses
better,
are conditioned way better than what they used to be.
for sure.
Yeah, but how do you make them harder?
I think
That's
everybody's
real much more true.
How do you
look
make
at
them harder?
Pinehurst,
Pinehurst was tough, yes.
right? Because
one.
that's a golf course had 0 rough, so rough doesn't matter.
Well, as long as if the course has rough or whatever's replacing the rough is actually penal.
Right.
Correct. Like a waste bunker. Or
Yeah,
something.
because what we're going to see at the John Deere this week, what we saw the previous 2 weeks, is rough really isn't rough. It's just a little bit higher cut
Right.
But
than the fairway.
basically, you got to make greens super firm, super fast.
Mhm.
And then tuck pins.
Turtle back.
And tuck
No.
pins away.
I don't watch these tournaments the last 2 weeks expecting a hard golf course, a hard fight.
Right.
I mean, remember what Bryson did to Detroit Golf Club? It was stupid. I mean, I remember watching when he won it there, like he was driving it like 20 yards short of the green. And everyone's just laughing because what can you do at that point?
Yeah.
I think it'd still be fun to see instead of in the majors, like just on a normal either elevated event or whatever that may be, a golf course being difficult.
Oh, yeah,
Where
for
they're
sure.
not-
There's
where they're
few.
not
I mean,
12 under.
Bay Hill every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you look at Memorial this year was brutal, single digit under par 1.
My thing is when I'm watching golf, it's like, okay, he had a bad tee shot. Like the worst he's gonna do here is like a bogey. But like if you get to the point of like Pinehurst, for example, it's like, okay, he hit in the waste bunker. Okay, he just went right of the green. Now he's got to get up and down. Now he's looking at double.
I'll say it was like
You know,
any score was possible
Right,
at Pinehurst.
something like that. Instead of like, oh, that's, even though it's not easy up and down for the average golfer, it's easy for them.
Right.
So I
Good
think that'd be
good news for you, Tyler. The Open's right around the corner.
sure.
Next week, right?
2 weeks.
Is it 2 weeks?
Yeah. Next week's the Scottish Open, which
okay, yeah.
which not this week's John Deere, next week's Scottish. Then we have the Open after.
Yeah.
Right.
Which it's so nice being able to wake up in the morning. There's golf on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice about yesterday.
All right, so to kind of summarize up what we've been kind of hinting around, is it easy to win on tour now?
Can someone else answer before I say the
For all
clickbait?
the people
I think the
come.
courses are. I think the courses have gotten easier. Maybe not.
But
Courses.
has that made it easy? Has that made it easier
I was
to
going
win?
to say, Tyler, they're playing the same courses.
They are playing the same courses. That's correct. But you have your players, I think, that are up there.
I tell my students all the time, the talent pool in golf now is way deeper than it was in 2000.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do I think the best players in the world in 2000 are worse players than the best players in the world now? Absolutely not.
Right.
But anyone can have a day.
I will say this right now. I think the players today are mentally way weaker than players in the past. So I would say
I don't know about that either,
it might be easier to win on tour now because a lot of players defeat themselves.
I mean, if we're being honest, Caleb, a lot of people are a lot softer nowadays.
Well, true. But
trickles down.
I'll go ahead and just take the stance that no, it is not easier to win on tour now. In fact, I think actually
It could be harder. Yeah.
I think it's much harder to win on tour now.
There's more players.
Well, number one, there's more players, but if you think about what it takes, the path to get onto the PGA Tour.
True.
Used to, all you had to do was go to Q school. I say this kind of joking, like all you had to do, but all you had to do is play one event, play well enough to get your PGA Tour card, and then you were a full status member of the PGA Tour, and you had, 35 events to play?
I reversed my statement. You're exactly right, because also, too, now, with the PGA Tour structure, it's almost impossible to fall out. If you're a top 20 player in the world, it's almost impossible to, fall out in FedEx Cup points and lose your spot because of these elevated events. So it is harder to win.
For that traditional path onto the PGA Tour, it is much more difficult to get onto the tour. So therefore, it is much more difficult to win on the tour.
Correct.
But then even besides that, once you are on the tour and playing, we'll use last week's event, for example, you said Akshay made 2 bogeys for the week.
And still lost. That's brutal.
Okay. So the performance on tour every week, and it never fails. Like you see on Sunday, they're showing a guy that's leading the event or in the competition. He's putting for par and say he's made 1 bogey this week.
Right.
And you think, okay, well, that's no big deal. It's 4 rounds of golf. He's made 1 bogey. But then you're like, oh shit, he's 24 under par. Yeah. So
he was only 18 this week.
But generally speaking, they're shooting mid-20s under par for 4 rounds of golf.
That being said, he was 17 under after 3 rounds, which is unbelievable.
For 4 rounds of golf, you've got to play virtually mistake-free golf. And not only is that difficult to do, but while doing that, you've also got to make 24 or 25 birdies.
I won't rescind my statement saying players are mentally weaker now than probably they were in the past.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I think it's harder to win on tour from a different approach. Collegiate golf and also junior golf has changed drastically the last 10 years. I mean, it seems like every time a collegiate golfer, like an AM player, has gotten a sponsor's exemption, they've top 10
this week.
Almost every time.
I don't think he finished top 10, but Luke Clanton, he was in the mix after 3 rounds.
Through 14, he could have, and then got a little greedy.
And Nick Dunlop won this year.
I was saying Nick Dunlop won as an AM.
So the
He's
way
playing good golf again.
Right.
The way the top colleges are preparing players to play, because you've got retired tour pros as their golf coach. Mm-hmm. They've got strength and conditioning coaches. So the accessibility to technology, both for equipment and their bodies, right, at a collegiate level compared to 20 years ago, it didn't exist.
Yeah, it's much better now.
So when you're in college, you're essentially playing quote unquote tour golf, but just not on the PGA Tour.
Right.
And then that way, when you come out, now you've got PGA Tour EU. So again, it's changed the perspective of all this tournament matters for the team. It's like, well, not only does that tournament matter for the team, your individual score matters more so now than ever, because you get points towards PGA Tour EU.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, look at what Neil Shipley did.
Yeah, played well this week.
Played well, made the cut, and was kind of a risk, because if he would have just stayed at AM, he would be playing the Open.
Right.
But he turned pro early, and 2 cuts in a row he's made?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why it's harder to win, in my opinion, is the accessibility from a collegiate and junior level to good teachers, good equipment, and from a physical fitness side, we use swing catalysts. Even if you're not getting a lesson, learning how your body needs to use corrective forces and then going to the gym and working on that, that's huge.
Right.
So,
yeah.
To me, there's many reasons why it's harder to win.
100%.
So
again, I take back my first pull. Hank Haney, you're wrong. You're wrong. All right. It is
so
a
I'm
lot
going to throw
harder
another wrench in this situation. So since we've just described to us how hard it is or how difficult it is to win on tour, how can we justify the fact that one man every time he plays a tournament is winning? Scottie Scheffler. I know he didn't win the U.S. Open, but I mean
he's winning limited field events. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm joking.
you want to bring that back up, huh?
Hey,
if it's that hard to win, how do you keep rolling the dice?
Because Scottie Scheffler is freaking good, man. He's so good.
I think it's 2 parts. I think part of it's actually what we've already stated with the mentally soft thing.
Right.
And it's not to make fun of anyone, but I mean,
a reel we put up yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, to put it in perspective, Scottie Scheffler was arrested, right? So let's take away the celebrity status, all that bullcrap. He was arrested, went to jail, was booked, national headlines, and his cell phone was going nuts.
Yeah.
Showed up to the golf course and shot 66?
5 under.
Yeah. So shot 66. from a mental stability aspect, it doesn't get much stronger than that.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not picking on Akshay, but people ran onto the putting surface and he said he was scared for his life.
Amen.
Right?
Hey,
So-
only he can be scared for
correct.
his life.
And again, not making fun of that, but everybody else wasn't even. I mean, Scottie wasn't fazed by it other than he looked around and was like, well, what the crap's going on?
Right.
Or, so I just think the mental approach is why Scottie,
Well-
and Ted Scott's a big part of that. So,
And that's the thing. I think Scottie is just, he has his team, he has his process, and it's working, and he's sticking to it.
Yeah.
He's undoubtedly the best player in the world right now. There's a reason why he's winning all these tournaments.
Yeah. He's got his process figured out.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
And
what
it
Tiger
shows.
did.
but my point, players mentally, like, perfect example is like they showed Tom Kim teeing off in round 2, right? He does his pre-shot routine super fast, stands over the ball, and even the announcer goes, and the wait begins.
Right.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, and that's where I just think everything in golf has gotten a little too hyper analyzed. And then that's probably why you see guys thrive certain weeks and the next week they miss the cut.
Right.
And I don't think it's because
Tell
it's
the two
easy.
nines, as
yeah.
they say.
Yeah.
I mean, not to tell everybody to do it, but look at Tiger's run.
Mm-hmm.
He had his process. Now it was training like a Navy SEAL and running in combat boots at 3
See,
in the morning.
And
But
there was
there was a
other part-
process.
There were other
right?
parts of that process too. We
Well,
found out.
So he wasn't just running 5 miles a
I
day.
don't think
Caleb?
so.
Is
He was running from a 9-iron.
Yeah, but that one caught up to him.
that- yeah. It's hard to win.
Yeah,
It's hard to win.
It's hard to win.
It's hard to win anything
anywhere.
in general.
Yeah.
Any sport, anything.
Yeah,
Especially Formula One.
especially PGA Tour now. Well, poor Lando.
Well,
He's
I
got
don't
his
feel bad
feelings
for him.
hurt. So we got some new stuff coming out, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
With some
So obviously, one thing we like about Titleist is, unlike certain companies, they don't come out with something new every 9 months. So
Yeah,
it's-
they're about 14 now.
So, we're 2 years into TSR, or almost 2.5, and then the GT line. Well, we'll actually have about a month before other retailers here. So you actually got to go up and get fitted for yours.
yeah, I got fit for my new GT driver.
How many players put
fairway
it in the
wood.
field last week? It was
Got
like
like
30
44.
in a 60-player field.
I mean, I don't know.
What, do you actually have the stats?
Big Titleist guy.
Always,
He's got
No.
it.
always prepared.
You know how to work that?
Yeah.
I can't read that.
I was just saying. I didn't have the stats, but someone sent it to me.
There's 62 drivers and Titleist drivers.
And so there were 62 or 39% of the field, which is 29 more than the nearest competitor. 44 of those were the new models. So you still had a few holdouts on the old one, but for 44 players to switch to a new driver, basically
Over a week.
1 week, 2 weeks
After a
after it's
major.
been introduced is a testament to it. I mean, I'll have to say I was genuinely surprised by the driver, shocked and impressed. And that's about all I can really say right now.
Yeah, we can't go into details about the technology.
But for sure, if you're in that market this year for a new driver, like that's going to be.
what's the
you
one
have to check
company
out.
that probably customers don't want to hit in driver fittings that we notice?
Usually they tell you, "Oh, I want an easy to hit driver," and I'm not good enough to play Titleist. And I would actually probably argue Titleist is maybe making one of not the easiest drivers to hit.
The TSRs prove that.
Yeah,
In driver fittings, it's you grab the big ones, Callaway, Ping, Titleist, Wilson.
hey, it made it to the semifinals in the drivers.
I was more asking that question because I can't tell you how often people like I hear it in the bays. They come in like, I want to get fit for the new TaylorMade, the new Callaway, new
Yeah.
Ping. I don't want to touch Titleist. They haven't really made a good driver, and I'm like,
What?
TSR's been the best seller.
Oh,
for
but-
us.
but-
well,
yeah,
yeah, correct. I mean, now that being said, what driver do I always put in the mix?
Right.
And for those of you that don't know, driver TSRs right now are $449.
Yeah.
And we're still fitting them out of the bay because they're
Yeah.
so good.
I'll say it's honestly still been probably the best performing driver, but
It has easily been the best performing driver, I would say, in the Bay.
You could build a
The last
custom
year.
Ventus driver for
you can get
$800.
yeah.
You know,
That's it.
Speaking of Ventus,
You can
speaking
also
of Ventus, Yep. So we've got today's their release, or they started shipping
yesterday. Yeah.
The new Velocore Plus Red and Velocore Plus Black series.
So kind of completing that Velocore Plus lineup.
Yeah.
Right?
So the OG is going to stay in line for a little bit, but it is slowly being phased out because
Meaning the TRs.
No, the TRs are staying.
The TRs are staying.
OG Ventus.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
the biggest thing is obviously, just like we discussed with Spencer on our previous podcast, that Velocore Plus is a new material. So instead of just this regular 70-ton, 40-pitch material, they've added that third material in. So your TR is still going to be the more boardier feel. And then the new Plus is a lot smoother action without sacrificing any torque or any dispersion. So they've been able to bring the feel back to like that Black series, which is traditionally a harsh shaft. So we'll have all the new ones hopefully on the fitting wall tomorrow or Thursday. So we'll give some feedback on that and do a little review on it.
Yeah. I was looking forward to trying those out and seeing how they perform.
And then the blue board
Yeah,
comes out.
Diamana's
September.
doing, so eventually they'll probably have all three, but
Yeah.
for a 20th anniversary of Diamana's this year. So we've been fitting the whiteboard for probably 2 months now. And then they announced that blue board is going to come to launch in September. So new weights and obviously their Hexel torque, tip technology. They didn't have that 20 years ago when the blackboard, whiteboard, and it's red board, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when the original series came out, what was pretty cool is they did a limited edition release with the original graphics, and it sold out instantly.
Well, what's cool about, you kind of mentioned the whiteboard, the blue board, the red board. Our traditional thinking of white, blue, and red profiles for trajectories of shafts started in the Diamana series, the original Diamana series.
It's 4th of July week, man. Come on,
Nice.
guys. Now I'm excited to try, especially the new Ventus series. I've never been able to swing any of the boards. I would say.
Oh, I'm looking forward to trying that blue board out because I've been playing.
That's what you played.
That kind of mid-flight shaft now, anyway. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to testing them. I have no reason to change out of my driver's shaft. I finally have found a shaft that works.
I don't have any reason to change either, but I will try.
But he's gonna find a way.
Hey,
try
but I'm just
anyway.
saying, it's just going to be exciting now because we actually have something to go up against the Shogun now and things like that. To where, again, that you kind of go through that lull. Now we're back to where we're having some options.
It's kind of getting exciting again because traditionally speaking, you've got PGA Show.
I'm also happy that Titleist is coming out with these. Sorry, Kyle, to a new driver to fit.
Well, and they're not doing it in November like normal.
Yeah.
We're getting it early, but technically August is going to be when they're rolling it out.
August 1st is the official launch date, and then official release date is August 31st.
Except at Loggerhead.
I say, as soon as we get to our heads, you can come get fit.
Yeah. So we're excited for it. And then as soon as the embargo releases, we'll be able to talk about what makes this driver so special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all exciting stuff. Ready to move on to show and tell?
Yeah, let's do some show and tell.
Oh, I knew this was going to come up.
All right.
All right. So we got DeChambeau here.
Did you guys watch the debate? We're not a politics podcast,
No.
but you don't want to. You people already know our takes or something, but
We've got Capital One, the match. Donald Trump versus Joe Biden.
Bryson DeChambeau tweeted, "Let's settle this whole handicap
So we
debate.
got what, 45 versus 46 here.
I'll host the golf match on my YouTube." Now, Joe Biden during the debate said he was a 6 handicap.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I would pay-per-view. I would pay to watch that. I think that'd
And
be some
you
great.
hate paying for anything.
I think that'd be some great television.
100%.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen D Trizzy's swing? It's like
Whose?
D Trizzy.
Oh.
D Trump. That's Donald Trump.
yes,
man.
I've
Look what he's
seen his
gaming,
swing.
dude. Titleist.
TS1.
Yeah, so that's a one. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
It's funky, but it's dynamic, man.
I would say he
his
actually
golf
hits
swing.
it pretty
I was
well.
going to say you just won the club championship.
Oh, whoa.
Right.
At 3 clubs.
2.
Or 2.
And it you have to be smart to win a club champion.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
No, you just have to be a good player. Just be a good player.
So if the match happens, who y'all taking?
oh, come on.
The guy that can complete a sentence.
Oh, see, this is why we can't. Dang it, Miles.
All right. I was gonna say if the match happens, this is what I
100%
would-
Donald Trump.
How many prop bets are there going to be on how many holes Biden can complete?
Well, he can't even walk down a staircase.
See,
Please tell me.
keep opening him up for this.
Please tell me y'all have watched Shane Gillis.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, my
I
God.
have not.
Talk about a Roomba.
Yeah. We this isn't even it's not even a question. We know who would win that golf match.
This is a flush. We got to make this happen.
Which is sad, but like
All right, Bryson. Everybody tag Bryson.
Yep. Where would we host it at? Side note. All right, let's think about the logistics of this, right?
Trump, we all know that Trump isn't going to play anywhere but
Trump National.
a Trump property.
Trump golf course.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
What's the flattest one?
I mean, it's probably in Florida.
Trump would probably use. He would probably.
I don't know. Think about like how cool would it be to play like Congressional Country Club, have a match there.
That would be. Hey, see what you're doing there.
That'd be cool. America themed, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to Lake Presidential right across.
Or we just get everybody involved. Go ahead and get Clinton, George Bush. Just have a presidential Ryder Cup.
Who do we get the caddy for them?
They're VPs.
We need to go to the next one before our YouTube channel gets
Monetized.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Well, we already said
comes
the
back.
T word, so chances are it will.
A guy lost his fantasy football league and had to play the U.S. Open local.
That is a brutal punishment.
Didn't go well. Hey, I promise you 112 is not the worst score ever
Absolutely
posted.
not.
That's so funny.
No.
Though.
Yeah, but this right here, it kind of, the comments were actually really good on this post, and most of them are right. This is what's wrong with a lot of the U.S. Open qualifiers is you're supposed to have a handicap to sign up for the qualifier.
That's a 2.5 or better.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the fact that people are doing this as jokes now versus allowing like the people who want it.
Or, hear me out.
Because that's not fair to the guy that's
Oh, so it's definitely not fair to the group he's playing with.
I'm a little speculation here. This is the one friend in the group that probably the guys don't like to play golf with because he lies about his handicap.
Has a vanity handicap.
Has a vanity handicap. And then they took advantage of a situation where he lost his fantasy football, and they're like, no, we're going to go embarrass him.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole point of it. I mean, my friend Caleb, he's going to have to play golf in a skirt.
Buddy, I have to run 5 miles.
Different Caleb.
Huh?
Different Caleb.
I have to run 5 miles.
That's just a Sunday for Caleb in front of me.
I have to run 5 miles, walk, or drink 5 beers, and have 5 donuts. That's my punishment this year because I finished dead last.
That's it.
Run 5 miles, drink 5 beers, and have 5 donuts.
Man, 5 donuts, you're just getting started.
Buddy, the beer and the donuts together plus running? I don't run, dog.
No, I mean, the guy that was in this
It's
group.
messed up. You just tore your Achilles. You don't need to be be How to get a
It'll be
bike?
it'll be a quick walk.
a brisk jog.
Brisk jog.
But no, stuff like this shouldn't happen. I mean, the guy that played in this group's a professional player, and like he said, it was a distraction the whole day. It's one heck of a story, but it wasn't fair to the guy that's grinded all year to get in that position.
There's a perfect qualifier for this that you could go do, and I don't think your handicap matters for it. It's the USAM one.
Well, where I was going to say, even just sign up for a Monday qualifier.
A pre-qualifier. A pre-qualifier.
Claim to be professional because there's no handicap requirement for that.
Hey, I'm gonna give him credit. You know, he made four pars.
He didn't know card.
One.
Yeah, he finished it. Yeah.
Yep. He didn't know card.
He finished it. But I was gonna say, when I saw this, my first thought was, it's funny for the group of friends. It's a heck of a joke.
Sucks for his playing competitors.
But from a competition standpoint, I think this is a shame.
Yeah.
And that's basically that's all there is to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't do stuff like this.
Right. Teenager Miles Russell ready for tour debut at Rocket Mortgage Classic. We're a little bit behind on this one.
Yeah,
we're time traveling here.
Well, what do you think, though?
How's he going to do?
He's the number one.
Here's your chance to be right, Nick.
Hear me out. He makes a cut. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
No, he doesn't. Insanely impressive. I mean, I name dropped him a few podcasts ago.
Yeah.
Like the kid made back-to-back top 10s on the Corn Ferry Tour this year. I mean,
but not only his skill, dude. You got to look at his mannerisms on the course.
he looks like a 50-year-old. It's insane.
Yes, dude. And then even taking interviews and stuff. I was like, those parents had to media train.
He does. No, this kid's doing everything right.
Yeah,
he will be there eventually. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go the Akshay route.
I was getting to say he's going to do probably what Akshay did.
Yeah.
Because
skip college, play professional.
The
golf.
talent is there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the only thing that hurt him this week was his distance.
Yeah,
his distance a little bit.
His putting was.
He putted really well.
That
it's
was
just
last week,
when you're not hitting greens on a course that I think 4 under was the cut. Like
He still hits the ball like 280.
he finished even for 2 rounds. I mean, so it's like
That's still good playing.
15 years old. He's the number 1 junior in the country for a reason, and also his golf swing's perfect because he's lefty. Like
I was just about to say,
it's impressive.
and I think Miles and I were talking about this the other day. Like, I've always felt like the left-handed golf swing looks better than the right-handed golf swing.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Not even. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, whoa.
Ooh, it's a golf multi-tool. You can putt and fix your ball mark at the same
The
time.
the double duty.
Double
the divot repair putter.
It's
patented.
And of course, it's out of play against
They got a
sports.
patent on it. That's
funny.
wild.
You got to patent something like that. That's a hell of an idea.
Does that say $24.99?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick mine.
Hear me
up,
out.
dude.
If this
Oh,
had,
yeah, right.
If,
Yeah.
if this
Like I
had,
said, it's
if
for play
this had the
against sports.
Scottie logo on it, it would sell out in a minute.
I don't think so,
Oh yeah,
Scottie
it would.
people are insane.
but
You know who designed it? The group of friends that made his buddy sign up for US Open.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I think it's. I was gonna say I'd flush. Yeah. I think it's hilarious.
Flush
Hey,
it right down.
this
the
guy
toilet.
respects this guy respects course conditions.
Yeah.
no
yeah, that's what
divot
I'm
left
saying.
behind.
And you're
with
just trying to
this.
speed up the pace of play by not having to rummage around in your pockets for a divot tool. It's right there.
I wonder if he carries around the belt clip that holds the extra club.
You
if you're
know they got
chipping.
that little.
Wait, but how are you gonna use?
you know they got the little bead,
that
the
thing,
little
like,
bead thing to count your
you know,
strokes.
it's like a hoe.
Yeah,
You gotta use
You
those
know
like a
it's got
shovel.
that too.
yeah.
Or the clicker to count how many
Whoa,
shots
whoa,
you've
whoa,
had.
We're not here to talk about how it's used. We're just talking about
I mean,
I'm all for fixing ball marks on greens. It's a flush. Y'all can do with it what
I'd
you
say
will.
whatever the one below flushes because you have to literally.
it's a birdie.
Yeah, birdie. Because you have to literally like put it down. And move
Oh,
it.
that's just a minor
Yeah.
All right.
minor detail there.
Let me know how your back feels. After.
I don't hit enough greens for it to matter.
Well, send us off,
Go ahead.
Kyle. Send us
ahead.
off into America's birthday. Well, not birthday, but
We know you want to shank it, Kyle. Shank it.
Yeah. I can't send us off the proper way. So we'll
Do
do
it.
it the PGA way.
you should sing the national anthem.
Well, interesting podcast. It really,
We left Kyle speechless.
yeah. Well, we're not a politics podcast. I can't say what I want, and we'll leave it at that. But so obviously, July 4th is this week. So pour some tea out into the ocean and celebrate America's birthday.
Yeah.
And try to remember, like genuinely speaking, kind of everything going on and why we celebrate that holiday. Because obviously, America's been through some trials and tribulations, but it's been nice to see golf as a community has actually come together pretty nice since COVID. So
All right, sing us out, Kyle.
no, but we will catch you guys next week. Obviously, we'll do a pre-qualifier, like pre-talk on the Open Championship, and then we'll see you then.
Cool. America.